Right, so greetings everyone. We'll welcome everyone to the Sunday Dhamma stream in Vassa 2025. It's a delight for us to have Lamport Karuniko here with us. Lamport from Chitta. I believe he is now streaming from the Western Paradise. So,
Yes, yes. Where all the supporters of the Mahayana tradition want to go.
so with all respects and greetings, let us all offer our three respectful bows to Lamport. First bow, second bow, and third bow. I would like to now invite Long Paul to begin the session with a short guided meditation before we request for the Dhamma talk.
Okay. Yeah, so about 20 minutes of just sitting quietly, composing the mind. Yeah. So at the beginning of a period of meditation, it's good just to begin by just being aware of the way we are in the present moment. And, accepting the experience of body and mind in the present moment. This is rather than the attitude of, I want to get rid of something, I want to get something else. Just accepting, sense of making peace with the experience of the present moment. And as we breathe in, bringing our awareness into the physical body, how the physical body, how the experience of the physical body is in the present moment. So as we follow the breath in from the tip of the nose and going in, the chest expanding, the stomach rising, and just making conscious the experience of the physical body in the present moment. If we notice any tension, just relaxing that in the face or the shoulders. Again, mindful breathing is just a way of just relaxing and balancing the energies in the body. And yes, as we accept the breath coming in and the breath coming out, in the same way as accepting the experience of body in the present moment. Pleasant or unpleasant, neutral, whatever. Just being with the way it is. So bringing our awareness into the present moment. And, doing that, we begin to notice the mind. Again, the same principle, just knowing the way the mind is now, accepting that. Yeah, noticing the sort of thoughts are tending to manifest. So again, the attitude of not trying to get another state of mind or get rid of the thoughts, just being, aware of what are the thoughts that are coming and going in the present moment. And using the breath now just to, keep us a little more in the present moment so that we don't just follow the thoughts of the past and the future, whatever. So when we notice the mind's going to thinking, just gently bringing our attention back to the breath, back to the body. And of course, as we stay more with the breath, this will have a calming effect on the mind, the composing effect. If you find the mind is wandering quite a lot, then sometimes we can replace the wandering thoughts with a skillful thought. So just an example, as we breathe in, breathing with a thought, breathing in peace. Breathing out with a thought, breathing out peace. So this is a sort of a personal encouragement to make peace inwardly, we breathing in peace, and peace with outward situations, breathing out peace. Oh, I can conclude the meditation here. I meant to ring a bell, but I forgot.
Thank you, Longfong. We'd now like to invite Longfong for the Dhamma. Vicky will help us request the Dhamma.
We'll now request the Dhamma. Brahma Chaloka Dipati Sahampati Katanjalian Diwarang Hayajata Santi Dasata Paraja Kajatika Tese Tudamang Anukang Pimang Pajang. The Brahma god Sahampati, Lord of the world, with palms joined in reverence, requested a favor. Beings are here with but little dust in their eyes. Pray, teach the Dhamma out of compassion for them.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. So, greetings everyone, and yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And yes, I'm in the Western Paradise here. You might just hear the odd like banging sound during my talk. And the reason for this is I have a nut tree overhanging my kuti, and the squirrels are up there having a good time. So occasionally they're dropping nuts on the roof of the kuti, which is just it's just like a plastic roof, so it makes a bit of noise. So don't be concerned if you hear a bit of a bang now and again. Yes, so today at the monastery this afternoon, we have what we call a lay forum, and where somebody from the monastic community, lay community, they present some reflections on a certain theme, and then they sit around and discuss that theme. And the theme today is equanimity. And because I'm doing the forum this afternoon, I've been reflecting on this, the Buddha's teachings on equanimity. Because, yeah, it's a very important quality to reflect on, to cultivate. And as we know, it's, maybe most of you know, it's one of the Brahma Viharas. It's one of the factors of enlightenment. And it's one of the paramitas. Yeah. So, mentioned in quite a few important teachings from the Buddha, so a very important quality to reflect on and to cultivate. And in some ways, it's probably the most difficult. Because, you know, I always think like with parents and children, the metta comes easy, the compassion comes easy, the gladness comes easy, but when they misbehave, the equanimity can be a bit challenging, can't it? Yeah. So it is a very sort of, yeah, it's something that doesn't come easy, but so beneficial if we do reflect on it and cultivate it. So when we do the chant on the Brahma Viharas, Ahang Sakito Homi, Niduko Homi, you know, the reflections about metta, karuna, mudita. And the reflections on upekkha are around I am the owner of my karma, heir to my karma, born of my karma, and abide supported by my karma. Yeah. And the reason for this is, firstly, in our life, we experience many experiences, some pleasant and some unpleasant. In meditation, when we sit and meditate, sometimes there's pleasant states, sometimes unpleasant states, sometimes nice thoughts, sometimes not so nice thoughts. And the importance in meditation is to be initially be more accepting and peaceful with the experiences, because this is our karma. This is the results of our life, of what we've done in our life. And, of course, in Buddhism, we also talk about previous lives. And, sometimes, when we experience things, we can think thoughts like, why me? It's not fair. It's always, this sense of, unfairness and, blame and whatever. But, how to replace those sort of thoughts of being the victim or anything like that with the thought, this is my karma. This is the results of, what of the things I've done through body, speech, and mind. And this can, support this sense of just making a bit more peace with what we're experiencing. And that's important. Before actually we can let something go in the mind, we have to make peace with it. We'll have to learn to accept it. If we're resisting it, trying to get rid of it, we're just pushing it away, it's going to keep on coming back. Yeah. So the reflection on karma is about, okay, this is the karma, I can bear with it, make peace with it, in a way that, allowing it to cease. Then this is how we can allow all karma to cease in the mind, allow the moods to cease, the thoughts to cease. So important in terms of relating to the mind. And that's why, I know, in the meditation, just before, I did say this reflection, breathing in peace, breathing out peace. So this is the idea of upekkha. And, just being able to peacefully observe something, nothing lasts, it changes. And I think, from my experience, the more we can be at peace with it, it changes quicker. When we're resisting it or getting caught up in it, we tend to hold on to it. But the more we can accept it, reflect wisely, like this is karma, then this lessens the tendency to hold on to it. And then, this facilitates the ability to let go of some of these habits of mind. And of course, also, we have a physical body. And as we get older, what's going to happen in the physical body? Aches and pains, the sickness. So these are also things we have to reflect on as karma when we, experience illness and different physical ailments. And again, this can just allow us to be more accepting. But again, when I say accepting, this is the way it is. Is often what Lumpur Sumedho would encourage us to reflect. But it doesn't mean you're not going to do anything about it. but how to do it more from a more a peaceful mind rather than worries and anxieties and fears. If we're sick, we're going to do something about it, aren't we? We have to, we want to, get well. And, some of these ailments, it's a mystery maybe where some of them come from, but, again, it's karma. So I know there's two very eminent senior monks in our tradition who have the ability to remember their past lives. And both of them are not really in great health. And what they said, the reason for their bad health is in previous lives, they were generals and kings involved in harming living beings. So this is the karma they have to abide with. So, the karma of a physical body, it goes a long way, it goes back in even to previous lives. But again, just making peace with physical ailments, but then, do what we can to make ourselves well. So, this is where reflection karma can be supportive and helpful to help us to bring more peace as we do experience this karma of mind and body. And from a peaceful mind, then, things can unfold in a better way, even physically, the mind has its effects on the body. And it will help with the healing process if we can maintain mental well-being in what we have to go through. And then, of course, the karma on externally. In terms of what the people around us experience in their minds and bodies, people close to us, associates and situations. And again, I'd like to just bring to mind that upekkha, or equanimity, is not indifference. It's not a, don't care state. It's a caring state. It's a Brahma Vihara, And, somebody once mentioned this story that they'd read. I don't know if I've got it absolutely right, but I think it was by somebody from the Christian tradition. Yeah. And it was about a man lying sick by the side of the road. And first a Muslim comes along and says, "May Allah look after you," and walks on. Then the Buddhist comes along and says, "Oh, it's your karma," and walks on. But then the Christian comes along, the Good Samaritan, and helps the person. That's a wrong interpretation of karma, To me, in that situation, again, karma, this is a person's karma. That means you accept this the way it is now. But then you think, what can I do to help? And if we can maintain a skillful state of mind, then maybe that'll help us to be able to be more effective in the way we help that person. Yeah. But of course, also there is situations where there's nothing we can do. Somebody's suffering. We've tried everything. They continue with their suffering. And, we can't think of anything else to do. So that's also about equanimity. We have to accept this is the way it is right now. So, someone in my family has been through quite a bit of mental illness, and I've done my best to try and help them. But they haven't been able to, I haven't been able to really get them better. I still try, but I have to contemplate equanimity. This is their karma. This is what they have to go through. So again, just making peace with the way they are, but still caring and doing what I can. So it's not an indifferent state where, oh, that's their karma, good for, it's acknowledging, yeah, that they're experiencing the karma they have to go through and accepting that. But then, is there anything I can do to help? Or if maybe sometimes there's nothing we can do to help. So it's just, this is about, making peace, more peace with the external conditions. And of course, you've got also world situations too, which is all karma, isn't it? Yeah, what's happening in the world now. Again, we get upset and angry about some things, but this is the karma of the world. And it's more skillful, not to get, probably not to get caught up into righteous anger or worries or anxieties or fear. And really, this is the world. This is the karma of the world. But again, this is the way the world is. What can I do to improve things? And what I tend to encourage people is that focus yourself on the good things you're doing yourself, in terms of the things keeping precepts, meditation, doing wholesome actions. Focus on bringing good things into the world in the best way you can, rather than getting righteous about what the things that other people are doing. Just like, recently somebody been sending me messages about, links to articles about misbehaving monks in Thailand. So I wrote back, I said, I don't really want to, I know all monks are not perfect, I don't want to fill my mind with the unskillful things that other monks are doing, but, focus on just doing good things, and, in my own monk's life, because, there are misbehaving monks. There's thousands of monks in Thailand, some lose the plot a bit, that's bound to happen. Yeah. But, it's not dwelling on these sort of things, but focusing on the good things that one is doing. And so the reflection of equanimity on karma can help to just make a bit more peace with the way things are, both internally, with the people around us, with the world in general. And when things don't go the way we want them to. Oh, there's a nut falling on my roof. I don't know if you heard it. Yes, there was a little verse I once read on the theme of equanimity, and it went like this: "It's easy enough to be happy when life flows along like a song, but the one worthwhile is the one who can smile when everything goes dead wrong." So this is just a reflection on equanimity. Yeah, when things don't go the way we want them to. Again, it's all karma, isn't it? Somehow I'm always surprised when people get upset when things like, something's late or something doesn't arrive in the post on time. Things are on time or things not ready on time. But, this is karma as well, isn't it? Yeah. We're not in control of this thing called life. We can definitely try to steer it in a certain way, but ultimately we're not in control. We're living with karma. And the more we can actually internalize that, then we can be more at peace with the natural changes of life. When things don't get on time, and things don't work out the way we wanted them to. equanimity is also reflected on in terms of when we do experience these, what we call these worldly dhammas, gain and loss, pleasant experiences and unpleasant experiences, happiness and suffering, fame and disrepute, and praise and blame. And how to keep our sense, of balance as we're experiencing these worldly dhammas. And, we as human beings, we have to experience them all. It's the nature of things. And as the Buddha said, there isn't now, there never will be, and never has been anybody who's wholly praised or wholly blamed. So equanimity is important in the way we, relate to these worldly dhammas, like praise and blame, for example. Now, before I got into Dhamma practice, in my sort of youth, I get very excited over certain things. Yeah. But then when things changed, I get a bit depressed. So my moods would swing from excitement to being a bit depressed. And the thought came to mind during that time, the higher I climb, the farther I fall. And at the time I hadn't, it was just an intuition that came before, I came across Buddha's teachings. But again, now you see that, with these worldly dhammas, the more we cling to one, the more we suffer when we get the opposite. The more we get carried away with praise and get excited over being praised, the more we suffer when we get blamed. Do we notice this? This is the worldly dhammas. The more we cling to one, the more we suffer when we get the opposite. So equanimity is something to bring to mind, so that not to get carried away with praise and not to get too downhearted or depressed when we get blamed. So this is reflection one can bring to mind, equanimity, when we notice we get a bit excited about something. If we think it's a good thing not to get too excited about something, then maybe we could say, just in practice, it's like staying with the pleasantness of something without getting excited about it, because it is pleasant to be praised. Now also, don't be afraid of being praised. Like, oh dear, if I cling to this, I'll suffer more when I get blamed. No, just accept the pleasantness of it, but without, getting too excited about it. Ajahn Chah had a very good analogy on this sort of principle. And his teaching was about the snake. He said, if you grab hold of the tail of the snake, the head will turn around and bite you. So if we grab hold of praise, then of course blame turns around and bites us. Yeah? It's the year of the snake, by the way, isn't it, this year? In Chinese tradition. Yeah. So equanimity would be like Ajahn Chah said, just watch the snake go by. Yeah, this is about equanimity. Now, of course, our habits are to grab hold of these things, but when we notice it, this is reflection to bring up. And if we do bring more awareness to this principle, then the lesson, the tendency to get excited or get depressed will lessen. We'll find a more quality of balance. Same, with gain and loss. Again, this is just the karma of we'll gain things in life, we'll lose things in life. Help us to deal with that. So if we win the lotto, we won't get not to get too excited because you might lose it all the next day. You never know. Or they might have got your number wrong. But anyway, just it's about, again, gains and loss, isn't it? And, like fame and disrepute in life, some people will like us. We will be popular maybe with some people, but there's always going to be some people who don't like us. We won't be very popular with. It's the same in monasteries too. The people we get on with, people we don't get on with. And again, the more we get carried away with being popular, the more we'll suffer when somebody doesn't like us. The more we attach to being liked, the more we'll suffer when we're not liked. So again, it's just noticing, it's pleasant when somebody likes you, acknowledging that, but not getting carried away by that, realizing that, there's some people I don't like. So then when people relate to us in a not a nice way, we can just acknowledge with more equanimity the unpleasantness of people not liking us. And, I used to, one of the reflections, a couple of reflections in this respect, because in community, there's bound to be people you get on with and don't get on with. I used to reflect, first of all, I used to reflect, why should everybody like me? Why? And then the other reflection was, how does it feel not to be liked? So this is just where I would reflect in those times when somebody wasn't relating very friendly to me. And of course, the same with the sensory world and the experiences of the sensory world. Sights, we're going to experience pleasant sights, unpleasant sights, pleasant food, unpleasant food, pleasant sounds, unpleasant sounds, pleasant physical sensations, unpleasant physical sensations. So this is what we all have to experience as human beings. And again, the same principle. If we get sorry, snap. Okay, yeah. Okay, sorry. Again, if we get too refined in terms of just want to listen to refined sounds or refined sights, if we're artistic or musical, you see how if we have a lot of attachment to refinement, then gross things we can really suffer, can't we? Or tidiness, you could say, like in the house, if we attach to things being nice and clean and tidy, when things get a bit messed up, you see, there's a bit of a reaction to that, isn't there? So again, just noticing where our attachments are, and especially, when the unpleasant aspects of the senses come up. So we're constantly learning about clinging. Yeah. And again, you can reflect on equanimity, it can bring us back to a state of balance where, it's natural that we're going to experience some unpleasant sounds, sights, tastes, touches. Yeah. And just seeing how, knowing, where we tend to have attachment in terms of the senses. And this is something we can lessen over time by contemplating equanimity, especially, say, when we experience the unpleasant aspect of those things of the sensory world. So again, equanimity can support us, maintaining a sense of balance in our life. Sometimes these worldly dhammas are called the worldly winds because people get blown about by them. And maybe also might be stems from there was one monk in the time of the Buddha. He was a dwarf, and when he would walk on Bindaba, people would mock him and make fun of him, but he didn't bother him at all. And the Buddha said, he was a very accomplished monk. He's like a mountain that doesn't get shaken by the wind. He didn't let these things bother him. Yeah. Something I have to contemplate too, in England, when you walk around in robes, especially maybe in places where people are not so familiar with what you are and you look a bit strange, especially, in England, wearing like a sabong, a skirt. Some people can be quite, not react pleasantly to that and say something not very nice. But that's life. Yeah? Can't expect everybody to appreciate seeing a monk. But some people do. So when people do, say unpleasant things to me, I just accept that's the way it is sometimes. Once, I don't usually travel at night, but on one occasion, I had to go up to my father's house because my father had to go into hospital quite suddenly. And so I managed to get a bus pass, and I go and visit him in the evening in the hospital. And I was coming back on the bus, and it's probably about 9 o'clock at night, but there was some guy on the bus who was a bit drunk, he'd been drinking. And he said to me, don't you feel stupid going around looking like that? Yeah, I said, no, I'm just a Buddhist monk practicing peacefulness. And he said, yeah, he says, you're an idiot going around looking like that, he said. Yeah. And I think part of it was he knew that some people might get aggressive towards you because of the way you look. Some people are like that. But the interesting thing was he then turned to this young woman who was also sat on the bus, and he asked her, don't you think he's an idiot going around looking like this? And the woman said, I think you're an idiot, not the monk. So it's quite nice that he sort of was on my side. Yeah, but that's life, isn't it? That's life. In terms of, the factors of enlightenment, you notice this is the enlightenment factor following samadhi upekkha, in the factors of enlightenment. And one thing that I found through meditation, that when through the meditation I began to experience more peacefulness in the mind, some better level of, you say, samadhi or peacefulness, then I found naturally from that upekkha came. In other words, I didn't seek excitement anymore. I saw excitement as not very pleasant actually, compared to the peacefulness of mind. And so when because of that, when I noticed the mind getting excited about things, I'd come back to the peaceful mind, come back to the breath, or come back to reflecting on some of that equanimity. I used to get quite excited about traveling and doing this and doing that, as a monk as well. But now, I'm much more equanimous about it, which is good because, if plans don't work out, I don't suffer as much. If I get too excited and look forward to a trip somewhere and it gets cancelled, then I suffer. If I don't get excited and say, okay, maybe I'll go, maybe things will change, then it's okay. I can adapt to the situation. Yeah. But again, the more we do develop this sense of samadhi, inner calm, clarity, then naturally from that, I find the sense of getting excited about things, the tendency for that will lessen. We'll tend to incline more towards being more peaceful than being excited. Of course, that will help maintain the balance in our life, that we're not going to get carried away with situations the same. And of course, again, with a more sense of balance, also the ability to respond to situations will be much better, because when we can not get caught up into the reactions to situations, when we do have more equanimity, then more skillful responses can come from that. More wisdom can arise. Because, I mean, we do experience, don't we, when we react to a situation, the first thoughts that come up may be not so skillful. But when we sort of calm down the initial reactions, then the thoughts that come up for more quality of calm are more skillful. We notice that. And then, again, from that, maybe, what we can do to help the situation, respond to the situation. So this is, the benefits of equanimity. It helps oneself, it helps others, because we can respond to other people also more skillfully. So it's not something that, I said comes easy. Meditation practice does support it. Especially, when we do have to experience unpleasant things in meditation, bearing with things that are unpleasant. Being patient is a good support for equanimity. Hopefully, meditation is not always unpleasant, but we do have to experience unpleasant things. But that gives us that, will give us that strength of mind. Again, in meditation, not to get dragged down by the unpleasant things, but also, in meditation too, not to get too excited when you're having a nice experience in meditation. One of the traps of meditation sometimes can be, you've experienced this nice experience in meditation, I want to get back to it. So you approach meditation, I want to get back to that experience again, that peaceful state, or that special whatever, nimitta, whatever one might experience. But the very desire to get something in the meditation will inhibit that experience occurring again. So it's to approach meditation with a more equanimous mind. Okay, I'm just going to sit and be with the way it is, cultivate mindfulness, cultivate awareness, and allowing unskillful things to cease with equanimity. A spacious heart that allows things to come and go, allow the mind to become clear, allow the mind to become more calm. So this is how this quality of equanimity really supports meditation practice. And again, everything that we do and relate to in our life. In terms of, again, like I mentioned before, in terms of responding, in terms of Brahma Vihara, in terms of karma, being more accepting of the karma, and in terms of cultivating more peacefulness, which is support for these factors of enlightenment. So I think I'll conclude the reflections here.
Handamayang ovada kataya sadhukarang tatamase. Sadhu, 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 anumodami.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Mm.
We'd now like to open the floor for questions and answers. For anyone who's got a question or a comment, for Long Paul, please feel free to click on the raise hand button. We see a lot
Go
of
ahead.
emoji flying up.
Okay, that's all right. I don't mind. I could be quite equanimous with it.
Mm. Um, Maybe if I can ask Long Paul a follow-up question. Long Paul, how does equanimity relate to justice? I mean, you talked a bit about how you feel, how sometimes, people like you and people don't like you. But
Mm,
sometimes there will be times whereby, uh, there will be a situation where you are wronged, right? How do you
yes,
balance equanimity and a sense of justice?
yeah. Well, I mean, we have to understand not, that the world is not all just the nature of the world is sometimes as injustices. But again, equanimity, I feel, helps. I mean, we have to do something to respond. If we're wrongly accused of something, then it's good to respond to that. But if we respond to it with anger or ill will and things, then maybe the outcome won't be so good. So if we can establish a more skillful state of mind in responding to the injustice, I think this will promote a better outcome. Yeah, and of course for our own mind too, if we get caught up into a lot of anger and ill will around these things, it's not going to be good for our quality of mind, is it? So if we can, respond to injustices or wrong or being wronged um, with a more skillful quality of mind, this will make the response better, maybe more effective. Mm,
Mhm.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Nampo.
Do you know one of Ajahn Chah's analogies I quite like to mention it? In terms of being wrongly accused, I don't know if you remember about in Thailand, it's it's um, it's a big insult to be called a dog, right? So Ajahn Chah would say, if somebody calls you a dog, look to see if you've got a tail. If you haven't got a tail, don't worry about it. That was one of Ajahn Chah's nice analogies.
That's very nice.
Mm, mm.
Okay, I would like to invite Malika. Malika has got a question.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, Good to see you, Ajahn.
Hello, Malika. Yes.
How are you?
Yes.
Good
Are
to
you in
see you out.
Brisbane? Yeah, I'm in Brisbane. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Brisbane is pretty cold these
Oh,
days.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I thought it
yeah,
didn't get cold in Brisbane.
yeah. Yeah. Ajahn, my question is how to use equanimity to overcome bodily pains, which lead to mental pain during meditation?
Mhm. Mm. Yes. Well, I think equanimity is. I think we have to bear with the unpleasantness for a while, but I think as time goes on, we do tend to get more and more accepting of the pain. At first, there's a reaction to it, but as we, stay with it, our tolerance of pain can be more can improve.
Mm.
So, you know, something that happened in my meditation was I had a lot of trouble with sleepiness at one time, and I used to get a pain in my knee, right?
Yeah.
A strong
Mm.
pain in my knee.
Yeah.
And but the thing was that when the pain got quite strong, it would alleviate my. I'd wake up. It would clear the mind of the dullness because the pain just sort of grabs the attention. So the mind would get quite concentrated on the pain. So I developed a quite a more positive attitude towards the pain in my knee, right? Because it was helping me to sort of deal with this sloth and torpor. But what I used to do when the mind cleared from the sloth and torpor, then I would then move because I didn't want to harm the physical body,
Mm.
But the thing was, interesting enough, because of watching that pain and having a good attitude towards it, the pain went. Eventually, the knee seemed to heal. Yeah, so the pain went.
So is that equanimity?
Yes, just being with it. Yes, I just had to be learned. But again, I had a positive attitude because I saw how it was helping with all this drowsiness and sleepiness and fuzziness of mind that I experienced a lot in the early days of meditation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But again, bearing with it to some extent. But of course, no, you have to know for yourself. Sometimes it's good to move. Yeah, I think not to move at the first time, when it first arrives. Just stay with it for a little while, and but then, of course, it's okay to move. So you're building up some tolerance, but you're not harming, not bearing with something that could, have long-term physical bad effects on the body. Yeah.
So when it gets to the mind, it's like a second arrow.
Yes, that's the second arrow. Yeah, but maybe notice first the unpleasant feeling comes, and at first maybe we can accept it, can't we?
Yeah.
But then, as the pain increases, then we notice the sense of a bit of dukkha arising, don't we? And still, the mind stays with it. But then it increases more. Then the mind starts to think about, starts to proliferate around the pain. So you can see how that's when the wanting to get rid of it has come in. We got caught up in the pain. Yeah. So we can watch the whole process like dependent origination. Feeling, craving, becoming.
Yeah.
We become, when we start getting into thought, we become the one who's in pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we can watch that. We can learn from it. And then when we move, watch all that cease. Watch the mind go back, stop proliferating. Watch the unpleasant feeling, the sense of dukkha and the unpleasant feeling going and coming back to peacefulness of mind. So we're learning about, things from the pain. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So also, can you use that the body is like all made of 4 elements, so you're liable to get pain and things like that?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, reflecting on that's good. Yeah.
Okay.
But you see, that's a good reflection, bringing up rather than maybe thoughts like, I might damage myself or things like that,
Mm-hmm.
Initially, just initially to contemplate like that. But again, don't, be careful about not damaging,
Yeah.
But you can heal things, things can heal with the meditation. Yeah.
Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you so much.
You're
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too. Yeah. Give my best wishes to your husband. Yeah.
Okay. And I'll tell Ajahn Dhamma as well.
Yes, and the Dhamma.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Malika. We next have Jonathan. Jonathan would like to ask a question. Yep, go ahead, Jonathan.
Thank you, Peter, and lovely to meet you, Ajahn. I'm all the way from the UK, so yeah, just had a chance to go to Chithurst sometimes, which is wonderful. My question is sort of, in today, there's a lot of, but one can feel a lot of anxiety around the world, all the difficult things going on. So it's been interesting to hear. Before you were monastic, I believe you were in engineering, wasn't it? So, was there big time of anxiety, etc., in your own life, which led you towards Buddhism and learning about equanimity, etc., and your decision to be a monastic?
Yeah. I was always aware that of the danger in the world. Yeah, like definitely, in terms of old age, sickness, and death. And also, with the world and situation, somebody could just drop a bomb on us or something like that. These sort of thoughts did arise. So, I mean, that was for me, that was my inspiration to seek a wisdom or understanding that could help me to be, to let go of all those fears and anxieties. And and that's what Buddhism helped me with. Meditation and reflecting more skillfully, and trusting more in karma and things, and knowing that the sense of faith in that law of karma, that if I, cultivating skillfulness and good things in the present moment will help, even if somebody does drop a bomb on London, that you create the good karma to pass on to more wholesome things. I did have that faith in Dhamma by then. Yeah. But I really saw clearly the importance of letting go of anxieties and worries about it. And again, just focusing on doing something, doing good things in the present to try and support the good things in the world.
So letting go anxiety, is it through the meditation or guidance from at the time Lumpur Sumedho, or what was it? How practically can one let go of anxiety?
Well, we notice when anxiety is then it gives rise to thoughts about the future. So one of the remedies for that is really to focus on what you do in the present moment, not follow the thoughts about the past and the future, whatever, the things you've heard on the news or what might happen. Just focus on the good things you're doing in the present. So in meditation, just stay in the present moment, staying with the meditation object. Or when you do your activities, just staying with, more noticing when the mind going off to think about, anxiety in the mind goes to think about the subject of anxiety, then coming back to, oh, look, this is what I'm doing now, just focus on that. So it's about, living more in the present moment will be a great antidote also, besides meditation. The more we can, focus on the things we do in the present moment. And that's the thing these days, when people these days live a lot in time. Yeah, the mind always thinking about the future and the past, and that's a source of a lot of anxieties and worries and not, not a very peaceful mind state. But the more we can just, focus on what we do in the present moment, this will really help with that, support that, letting go of some of these habits.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions from anyone in this room? No? No more questions? I thought I'd like to take Lumpur's point example on helping a loved one who is dealing with a mental a situation, right, with a more equanimous mind. I think it is very hard, Lumpur, especially if it is someone that's very close to you.
Yes.
You have given examples that you visit the relative frequently, focused on doing things that are right at the present moment for the person. There is always a nagging feeling, right? To anyone that's concerned, like what else can we do, to help this person? It seems to me that the easiest or the most logical thing to accept is that this is the person's karma, and therefore to accept the situation as it is. Right? So my question is, Lumpur, is it not lame to just use karma as an excuse?
No, it's not, because it's not that you're not going to do anything, is it? It's just a way of just establishing, when you're with somebody who's struggling, important thing I feel is to maintain your own a good mind with them. Be with them in a peaceful way or accepting way. Because the way you are also affects them when you're in their presence. Yeah. So reflection on karma is just about how to maintain, sort of more skillfulness of mind when you're with them, which can support them on that level. And and then maybe from that, a more intuitive things how to respond to them can come up. The last time I was with my relative, who was, doing quite a state, they actually said to me, I was quite quiet listening, and they said to me, "Oh, you praying for me?" Yeah, in the sense that I was, that I felt good towards them, even though they're in quite a state. So your presence is important, and how to, karma is, again, it's just a way of reflecting, that, whatever helps us to maintain a good presence with them is important. Even if you don't say much, the presence just says a lot, the way you are with them.
Mm. Mm. So Lumpur, there is a question here. Why is metta emphasized more than the other Brahma viharas, such as karuna and upekkha in the suttas?
Maybe initially it's probably probably the most accessible to start developing Brahma viharas with metta. Yeah. And of course it helps to deal with hindrances like negativity and aversion, and is a foundation for being more accepting also. So it's something that would eventually support the arising of more equanimity. So there is more teaching in the sutras on metta and the benefits of metta. But again, maybe one thing naturally leads to another when, the wholesome things that come from metta practice maybe naturally give rise to more compassionate, also compassion.
I suppose also as human beings, metta, which is really like a sense of love, is something that's quite intuitive and natural for many of us. And that's why it's often used as a basic foundation for practice.
Yeah. No, it's an important practice. Yeah. But the thing, also have to be careful that it has to, with balance with equanimity, it means that with metta practice without wisdom, then we can get a bit sort of upset about the not so nice things that happen in the world. Yeah, when you see unkindness and things, because that does happen. Yeah, but important to try and maintain a sense of wishing people well around you. It's a nice thing to reflect. When I sometimes go to airports, walking through the airport, trying to, I use my feet touching the earth to stay in the present moment. But then I think, may these people be well. And it's nice. It helps maintain a wholesome mind state when you're going through busy places. Yeah. Staying in the body in the present moment, wishing the people around you well. Especially on the tube, like on the underground in London, you sit there and people don't look very happy. So it's nice to sit there and wish them well.
So Lumpur, there's a question where you are staying right now. I suppose for those who are not.
I mean, in paradise.
Yes. Lumpur is in his
the Pure Land.
But based at Chithurst Chithurst during the Vassa. So if you'd like to visit him, he is at Chithurst. Okay, Andrea, you do have a question? Oh, Andrea, you disappeared. Andrea, do you want to ask your question? Yes, please go ahead and ask your question, Andrea. We don't see you. We just see a picture of.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Buddha. Andrea's a Buddha.
Nalini.
Andrea's a little Buddha.
Okay, it shows. I'm sorry. Okay. Pandey Ajahn, thank you for the wonderful talk. It's really very, very beautiful. Thank you so much. I have a question pertaining to, we look at all our experiences, whether pleasant or unpleasant, based on karma. We are the owner of our karma. How not to falls into the trap of self-blame?
Well, yeah, it's when you notice those thoughts are coming, maybe to bring up a more like sometimes blame, sometimes it's from the delusion that somehow we should be making the world perfect or something like that, But we have to be realistic that we can't make the world perfect, and also our mind's not perfect either. So when we notice, I feel with like blame, it tends to dwell on something maybe unskillful we did or in the past or something like that. Maybe it's good to counteract that, maybe bringing up something good we've done. Yeah, and this is having metta for oneself, isn't it? This idea of metta for oneself, remembering and bringing to mind, because we've done lots of good things. Actually, I think all of you here, I'm pretty sure you've done more good things than unskillful things. But the mind does tend to dwell on sometimes on our faults. And that also comes from maybe a bit of inner negativity. That's why it's good to bring up, remembering the good things and being more kind to oneself. And realizing, it's not all our fault. And I think it's good to see that. Yeah. And of course, if we have done something unskillful, acknowledge maybe the results of that, but then make the intention to try and do something more skillful, not to dwell on it, guilt, remorse. Acknowledge it, because it can be our impetus to not to do it again. Experience that, but then not to dwell on it, to just, okay. I remember things, a lot of things I remember, the stupid things I did more before I was a monk, And I just, that's gone, just let it go, I don't dwell on it. I feel a bit of a pinch of remorse, but then I don't dwell on it, so it doesn't last, Yeah. But again, blame, just notice the feeling, the mind state that's in the mind, and when those sort of thoughts come up. But then, reflect, learn how to reflect on karma and, remembering one's good things one's done. Yeah. Bringing up some more skillful reflections. And that will help to let go of the subtle negativity in the mind and establish more equanimity, actually, more peacefulness.
Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you, Pandey.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Andrea. There's one more question here, Lompo. This person is saying that in some occasions, especially the death of loved ones, it is difficult to tell the grieved family members to maintain equanimity. I suppose the question is, how do you deal with the situation of losing a loved one? And how do you console the grieving relatives?
Yeah. Well, I mean, on a personal level, of course, I've lost parents, and it's natural to feel the grief and sadness when you lose a loved one. And so that's a thing, again, to accept the natural sense of sadness and grief of losing a loved one. But then again, how do we reflect in a way that, we have to move on from that, And, one thing about loved ones, I'm sure they won't want you to live in misery because of their passing away. If they could look down on you, they want you to be happy, wouldn't they? to like say, Dave are looking down on you. They want you to be happy. So, in terms of, for my own, maybe because, the Dharma practice has really helped with this, that when I remember my parents and, I might feel a sadness of their loss, but then I think, well, thank you for everything you've given me. Wish them well on their continuing journey. So like bringing up some thoughts of gratitude and metta. And then the sadness goes, and sometimes it does turn to metta for them. Yeah, I feel a sense of gratitude and metta for them. And maybe something to say to other people who are grieving. Would the person who passed away want you to grieve over them? They want you to be happy and just get on with your life. And I think maybe, just finding ways to help them to be more accepting of the loss and moving on. And that can take time. It does take time depending on how the loss occurred. And that sort of grieving process could last a long time, many years. But I think but reflecting skillfully can lessen the intensity of it, the grief, lessen the intensity of the grief and the sadness as time goes on. At first it can be quite intense, yeah.
Thank you, Ajahn. It's a very beautiful session today, where you reminded us to have more skillful and a wise cultivation and a practice in dealing with the various situations in life with a very equanimous mind. I'm also mindful of time, that we're standing between you and your 1 meal of the day. So we'd like to call the session to an end with the dedication of the verses and sharing an aspiration, and invite Long Paul to lead us in this recitation.
Do we do this in Pali or English?
In English, please, Long Paul.
Okay. Now let us chant the verses of sharing an aspiration through the goodness that arises from my practice. May my spiritual teachers and guides of great virtue, my mother, my father, and my relatives, the sun and the moon, and all virtuous leaders of the world, may the highest gods and evil forces, celestial beings, guardian spirits of the earth, and the Lord of death, may those who are friendly, indifferent, or hostile, may all beings receive the blessings of my life. May they soon attain the threefold bliss and realize the deathless through the goodness that arises from my practice. And through this act of sharing, may all cravings and attachments quickly cease, and all harmful states of mind, until I realize Nibbana in every kind of birth. May I have an upright mind, with mindfulness and wisdom, austerity and vigor. May the forces of delusion not take hold, nor weaken my resolve. The Buddha is my excellent refuge. Unsurpassed is the protection of the Dhamma. The solitary Buddha is my noble Lord. The Sangha is my supreme support. Through the supreme power of all these, May darkness and delusion be dispelled.
With a lot of gratitude from every one of us, to take leave from you, Lampo, allow us to do the closing homage.
Okay.
Araham Sama Sambuddha Bhagava Buddha Bhagavanta Abhivademi Swatato Bhagavata Dhamma Namasam Supadipano Bhagavata Saravaka Sangha Sangha.
So best wishes to everybody and wish you many blessings in your Dharma practice and peaceful and happy hearts.
Sadhu, 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 anumodami. Thank you, Lampa. I wish you a very pleasant and a strong Vassa practice. May you always have a big smile on your face and your calm demeanor that is so infectious upon all of us. All right, see you again. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye for now. Bye-bye.